What's that? A dramaturg?
Oh, Dramaturg. That's a new one on me.
Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Ian, this is Jayne.
Hi.
And this channel is all about music and art, and this is a review of a play that we've recently seen at Pocklington Arts Centre. Now before we get into what the play is about, it's worth saying that Pocklington Arts Centre is a lovely 200-seater, small, intimate auditorium. It's a fantastic place, and they get some really international sort of stuff, don't they?
Yeah. Music, comedy, theatre, they run films, they run things for kids, they run community groups. I mean, it's a fantastic resource, and we are so lucky to have it round the corner.
Yeah, we do. And this was Fly Half, wasn't it? By, who's it by?
It is by, well, it doesn't actually, I mean, it's written by Gary Lagden, who actually was the actor.
So, yeah, I've got the creative team. Gary Lagden is the writer and actor. Geoff Bullen is the director and dramaturg. What's that? A dramaturg?
Oh, Dramaturg. That's a new one on me.
Don't know what that means.
Oh, we'll have to look that up.
Okay. Gareth Moulton was the composer and musician of original songs and sound design, I would say.
Yeah.
And then Jayne Williams was the producer.
Just a mile or more from takeoff. The boy fell through the ice. Well, it's a story you just couldn't make up. We come and we go, wearing light and beautiful. We come and we go into the night. Together we'll walk the tide line. Together we'll walk the tide line. Together we'll walk till amber seas and darkening skies call time on time. All is one is all, time on time. This world will fall on the walls of dust and shimmering light. We'll polish, we'll crack the firmament. We'll polish, we'll crack the firmament. We'll polish, we'll crack the firmament.
So I'll read you what it said. These were the flyers that we had. Fly Half is a new play with original songs that tells the tale of a rugby playing steelworker from South Wales. Set in an industrial town, this play is a celebration of working class families who head out to the match each week, stand pitch side with pride, supporting their local team. A lyrical hymn to one man's passion for his family, his town and his beloved game. Fly Half is a story of love, loss, community and sport that rages against the beige of modern life. And just the tiny bit underneath that said Fly Half was awarded Critics' Choice of 2018 by British Theatre Guide and BritishTheatre.com.
Now, when we arrived and we sat down, and we, in a lot of these sort of things, we tend to pick the front row. we were I actually thought we got the time wrong because it was 7:20 and we were the only people in the audience, and it was due to start at past. Now it is worth mentioning that it didn't sell that well. It sold 45 tickets, and not everybody turned up. But to say this is a sort of indication of what can happen at Pocklington Arts Centre as far as theatre is concerned. Theatre is probably the least attended things.
I mean,
if it's a music, they've got China Crisis coming soon, and that's pretty much sold out.
The Manfreds are sold out.
Yeah, so that says more about the demographic of the area, not about about Pocklington Arts Centre, but we've seen it time and time again when we've gone to see theatre. We're passionate about theatre, but actually we also believe that if we don't go and see theatre in Pocklington Arts Centre, they'll just put less on, and we get that. You know.
I mean, we did see a production that was put on the studio. They have a smaller space, and that was full, but it is a much, much smaller
50,
space.
60 people maximum, and it was, if
I
you're
would have
lucky.
said less. It depends. I mean, we were sitting around small tables, so it would have been less.
That was the last quiz show, last quiz show on Earth, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
We were slightly worried, and it has been rescheduled. It was rescheduled from early this year. I think it was May. Was it May? It was meant to come.
It was meant to come, but we discovered that it had actually been on somewhere closer. I don't think it was York.
No, and it's been, and at the time of it coming to in May, it was also due at Beverley, which is sort of 30 odd miles down the road. It also did a couple of performances at the East Riding Theatre. Was that the East Riding Theatre in Beverley?
That is Beverley.
Oh, right, yeah. So it had, at that time, it had done the rounds of East Yorkshire. So I get that they moved it.
We are very pleased it came to Pocklington.
Definitely.
So
yeah. Amazingly, we hadn't read this.
I know, which actually I wasn't going to confess, but I think we often do. I mean, it's a bit of a sort of dichotomy, because we look at something the way it's advertised, in the sense it's the name, how it looks, and we think, oh, that sounds like our kind of thing. We don't necessarily read up about it, because I think that often colours how you sort of perceive something.
It can also give spoilers.
And I would rather go and have read very minimally about it, which we had about this, and be surprised. It was interesting, because as we discussed it on the way home, Ian said something which actually, when I read this afterwards, it says it in here. It's a review.
So what was that bit?
That was a bit about the poetry of it.
Oh yeah.
Which we thought independently, which actually was, we didn't say that because we'd read it. That's what we came away feeling. And I think sometimes you get, a true reflection of your experience of the production. And you're not thinking, oh yes, but I read that. It said that about it.
It's basically a one-man play, a one-man narrative with interesting and really well-performed songs and sound design. Whereas Gareth, who is playing...
No,
sorry, not Gareth.
Gary Lagden is the actor and writer of the piece, and he is the only person on stage with Gareth, but Gareth is very engaged. I mean, he's looking at Gary, and he's smiling.
Occasionally, he's looking at the audience. So he's a silent,
but
actor
he's very
of
much
sorts.
part of the piece.
I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. If anything, it was an hour. It was literally 60 minutes. So we started at 7:30. Other people did come in, Literally,
Oh, yes,
the
oh,
2
yeah.
minutes.
Oh, yes, so they-
so
you know, so
it
we
started
did-
on time, and everybody came in those 5 minutes. And the front row was full, which was quite nice because and people were sat behind. But it's a pity it didn't sell out, because it was just an absolutely brilliant
Yeah.
two-hander in that respect.
Yeah.
My only real criticism, actually I've got two, but one real criticism, it was too short.
We would have liked another 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
it could have sustained
Yeah,
that.
it could have done.
But anyway, that's,
Yeah.
But I mean, Gary's delivery, what he said, his journey as from a child
Yeah.
through to a father himself, and he talked about other characters, his life,
Yeah.
his passion about rugby. I mean, it was very funny.
It was
in
very
parts.
funny. It was, yeah.
And you were
Yeah.
just absolutely, it was absorbing.
Yeah.
It was, and it wasn't laboured. It
No.
was just such a natural telling of his life.
The nice thing about it as well is, this polarised some people, because I was talking to Dave, the manager at Pocklington, when he came out, and he said that some people hadn't quite liked it, or maybe they hadn't expected it. But the songs didn't reflect the play. Now I quite liked that, because there was sort of a juxtaposition of you're seeing the storytelling, and then we have a brilliantly performed song, and then you go back to the narrative, and I liked that. Once I'd realised that the songs weren't necessarily connected,
Yeah.
I guess I would have liked, and that was my other slight gripe, I would have liked the songs to be connected to the narrative.
I mean, there was an expectation that the lyrics of the song were going to reflect the story that Gary was telling. And apart from the last song, where the lyrics seemed to reflect a bit more about what he'd said, they didn't. Now, when he sang the first song, I thought, oh. And because I was waiting
There was,
for the link.
a lyric about Hollywood, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was song 2 or 3.
No, it was song 1.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
And yes, that took. But once I'd adjusted to that. I thought, well, that's okay, and it was okay, and I enjoyed the songs.
And the performance of the songs was excellent. I mean, Gareth, he plays with Go West and Holly Johnson. He's a regular guitarist for the Cutting Crew and Wang Chung, and local boy Snake Davis. He's in his band as well. And you could tell that the quality of his performance and his singing was of that sort of level, and the quality of the songs writing was excellent.
Oh yes,
yeah.
It was.
And I have to really commend the sound design, which is quite eerie and quite gothic at times.
Yeah, it was.
But actually, brilliantly, sort of juxtaposes what Gary was saying.
Yeah, I mean, it did. It worked.
It did work. Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah,
In
it
the
did.
end, it worked. In a way, you could say it shouldn't have done, but it did. And certainly, a lot of the audience laughed. I mean, the couple next to me were laughing. We were all laughing at the same
Actually, the
things.
couple next to me weren't laughing, but
Yeah. So we weren't. But if people had come for a sort of a straight play, and I mean, I'll be honest, we didn't know what to expect.
No.
And of course, when you came and there were just the 2 chairs, one obviously surrounded by guitars, etc., you realised that this wasn't going to be a play as such with, more than one player and a set. I mean, that was it. But it really worked.
And
it was great.
I mean, it hasn't been to Edinburgh Fringe, but it's so the sort of thing that would work at Edinburgh Fringe.
So would. But,
and I've just checked. It actually, there are no more touring dates for it. But having said that, you need to watch out for it, because obviously it's first started touring in 2018. I know we had the pandemic in the middle of that, but actually it will tour again. And I'll,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
I don't
so if I find when it's touring, I'll put them in the comments down below.
Okay.
How many stars?
Oh, 4.
Yeah, a good 4 for me.
Why are we doing stars?
Well, we did stars before with theatre, so we continue.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought we only did stars at Edinburgh.
Well, I've just said it's an Edinburgh type show, so no, for theatre I think we should continue to do stars.
All right, okay.
So yeah,
Sorry.
so it's a really, really good 4-star show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was, a very lovely evening.
It was just a pity there weren't more people there.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And that's no reflection on the venue or the play.
No.
People of Pocklington, go see theatre.
Please support your theatre.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye bye.